Hi, I'm Ryan CRC. As we all know, Republicans have been trying to ban abortion for decades, and now conservative judges in the Supreme Court are eager to strike down Roe v. Wade against the will of the American people. After all, 5 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices were appointed by Presidents Bush and Trump, who did not win the popular vote, which means the majority of the Supreme Court does not represent the will of the American people because they were not democratically elected. In fact, the Pew Research Center has released studies that show over 60% of the American people believe abortion should be legal in general, and over 70% of the people think women should have rights over their own bodies and decide if they want to get abortions or not. But we also know conservatives don't really care about the will of the American people. They are absolutely convinced their ideas are right, and they want to impose their ideologies onto our nation and force the American people to follow their very false beliefs that abortion is wrong and murders babies. So in this video, I'm going to prove why the arguments that conservatives make against abortion are so pathetically weak, and show why conservatives are both morally and intellectually wrong to try and outlaw this medical procedure. My hope is that if Roe v. Wade is overturned by the Supreme Court and the law of abortion is passed down to each state, that state lawmakers will make the right decision and allow women access to safe, legal abortions, so women don't have to resort to back alley abortions, which are very dangerous and put women's lives in great risk. As I mentioned before, conservatives love to say that abortion murders babies, but they commit 2 logical fallacies in this argument: persuasive definition and appeal to emotion. A fetus is not a baby. It's not a person. Therefore, it can't be murdered by definition. Conservatives are employing false terminology when they claim abortion murders babies, and thereby committing the logical fallacy called persuasive definition. They are trying to lend their claim more credibility by using these specific terms. But because the words murders babies falsely describes abortion, their argument cannot be valid. Also, they specifically say murders babies because these words provoke a strong visceral response in people. Since conservatives can't convince the majority that abortion is wrong with a logical argument, they want to compel people to join their cause by appealing to their emotions instead. However, abortion does not murder babies. It might sound provocative, but it's simply not true. Now, don't get me wrong. Once the fetus is viable in the 3rd trimester and can survive on its own outside the womb, you can argue it has the right to life. Until then, the fetus has no claim to personhood. But conservatives are not arguing to end 3rd trimester abortions. As it is, less than 1% of all abortions occur in the 3rd trimester, and they are already illegal in most of the states. When these late-term abortions do occur, they are usually performed out of medical necessity to save the woman's life. Since they happen so rarely, there's really nothing to argue about. Conservatives want to stop women from undergoing 1st and 2nd trimester abortions during the embryonic and early fetal stages of development. However, their reasons for wanting to ban these procedures are absurd. Many conservatives believe once a fetus has a heartbeat, it's a person. But that can't be true because most animals have heartbeats. Hearts are not what define our existence. Our brains and minds is what defines personhood. They are what separate us from all the other animals and make us who we are as individual human beings. A fetus does not even have the chance to develop the foundation for a functioning brain until the 3rd trimester. Its heart and lungs certainly can't work outside the womb until then. So you can't really argue that a fetus is a person in the early stages of gestation. It's not until the third trimester that you can consider a fetus to be an autonomously functioning human being who can live outside the womb. Now, embryos and fetuses are living organisms. No one is arguing that point. Just like no one argues that every other creature in the animal kingdom, from jellyfish to gorillas, are also living organisms. But embryos and fetuses in the early stages of gestation during the first and second trimester are not developed enough to be actualized people yet, which is an important distinction to make in this conversation. Conservatives further appeal to emotion by claiming a fetus can feel pain because it recoils when poked by a needle inside the womb. But that's not true. Anyone who's ever gone fishing knows if you poke a worm with a hook, it will wiggle around too. That's a natural reflexive response. The truth is, the human nervous system is so complex that it does not develop enough to process pain until the fetus is 24 weeks, if not older. To support their argument that a fetus has rights, conservatives often cite a federal law called the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, which grants fetuses personhood in murder cases. When a pregnant woman is killed and her fetus dies too, the law considers that to be a double homicide. As such, federal law grants a fetus equal personhood to the mother. Of course, laws are not always right. They don't always make sense, and they're certainly not consistent with other laws. You're free to drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes, which kills hundreds of thousands of people every year in America. But under federal law, you can't use marijuana, which harms no one and actually has health benefits. In Florida, you have to wear a seatbelt when driving to help keep you safe. But you don't have to wear a motorcycle helmet, even though riding a motorcycle is far more dangerous than driving a car. A woman can't claim her fetus as a dependent on her tax returns because the IRS does not consider a fetus to be a child. Nor can she cover her fetus with a life insurance policy and then collect benefits in the unfortunate event that it miscarries naturally. My point is, just because some legislators concocted a law that would allow murderers to be charged with 2 homicides when they kill a pregnant woman, does not mean you can take away a woman's rights over her own body. As per usual, conservatives have no idea what they're talking about. They're operating on bad information, and their arguments are so weak, they're actually kind of sad. They certainly don't care about the truth and objective reality. They drive full speed ahead in their cause, fueled by emotions and beliefs. These fools should not be allowed to enforce legal policies on the American people out of ignorance and arrogance. I'm Ryan CRC. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel to view similar content. Also, please follow me on social media such as Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, take care.